Yes.
Mm.
Okay. Just making sure. All right. So I guess we're waiting on everybody to get on. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Coach Lee.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have you ever done a roundtable?
I don't think I've done a panel, but I'm not sure if it's the same as a round table. So I'm gonna say no. Let's put it that way.
I'm gonna say no too. This is my first time. I'm trying something new.
Okay.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
There.
How are y'all doing?
Good.
Great. How are you?
Good. I am still at my awards event, but I wanted to make sure that I logged in and
Oh, okay.
they can save my award for last. They know I had to step out.
Okay. How cool is that?
Congratulations for whatever it is
Yeah.
that you're receiving.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm in a room with another with a bunch of other Black women powerhouses, business owners, excellent, wives, mothers, everything.
Oh,
So
wow. Black
it
excellence.
was it was a good way to start my Saturday. Yeah.
Nice.
So
That's
this was
inspiring.
stop number 2, and you all are number 3.
You're just having a motivating and inspiring Saturday, huh?
I am. I am the whole tour.
Yes.
I guess we'll give them 5 minutes and then let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay. Oops.
Rita's AI note taker.
Can you hear me okay with my phone like this?
I sure can.
Okay.
I think that's just the AI thing or something.
Oh,
Because I just got an email from it, shared roundtable discussion with you.
really? How cool is that?
Yeah, and my team accidentally put out the link for the Zoom. I'm like, no, go back and
Oh, they
delete
had to
that.
put it.
They
Oh,
was inviting
Delete that.
people.
oh goodness.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's just for us, but I wanted you to know what I'm doing so you can put out the flyers, but do not release the
Oh,
link. Oh yeah, they was about to give y'all a full audience. I was like, oh
oh
boy.
wow.
I was like, I'm about to be in trouble.
Look, they said my job is to promote. I am promoting.
Listen,
That's what's
my
up.
team is on it. They'll have it in people's inboxes and everything.
Oh, you have a great
So
team. I'm
well,
still on it.
they're clapping now. So she told me she would give me mine first because she know I had to step away.
Okay.
But if we're not started, I'll go and accept it. If not, I have my view on her, and I can give her, a signal to just pass me up.
Okay. Okay. We'll do 3 more minutes and then we're just gonna roll.
Okay.
We're not gonna hold up our schedules.
Okay. She's gonna go ahead and do me first.
Okay.
All
So
right,
while
go
we're
grab
waiting
your
at
award,
3 minutes,
girl.
Yeah,
I'll
go
be
ahead and
back.
grab your award. I guess we'll wait on her. It's just reading. Let me see here what I got. Can you still see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. This is so neat.
Oh, this your first time that it had like the AI thing do it?
Yes.
Look, she came in the chat to tell us who she was and everything, introduce herself and all.
Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, so I do my podcast in office. I just started with Zoom last week. So
Okay.
this is all new for me with the Zoom thing because I had a lot of people asking me, "Are you going to do Zoom? Because I'm not in Houston. Are you in Zoom? Can you do Zoom? Because I'm not in Houston." I'm like, okay, well, let me
Gotcha.
figure this Zoom thing out. That was fast.
Yeah. Listen, I was ready.
He said I was first.
All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started then. Let me see. So, the topic for today is women in business, the realities, the challenges, and success strategies. Of course, you know, I am Leilani, owner of Boss Women Network. Boss Women Network is an organization I created to help other women be a support system for other women and give other women the opportunity to network with each other. But the podcast was also created to kind of help me step out of my comfort zone because I am a total introvert. And I'm okay with that. For a long time, it took me a while to be okay with it, but now I'm comfortable in my zone of being an introvert. And I created the podcast so I can kind of step out of that and start connecting with other women. And then also giving out resources to women through the podcast because I have all these great women on the show that are business women that can help other women in business through their stories and their journeys along the way. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about your journeys. You're going to talk about who you are, what you do. I guess we'll start off with that and then we'll go into the main discussion, which we are starting out with the hidden sacrifices of success. So, who wants to go first? Giving an introduction of themselves.
Okay, I will go first. I am Coach Lee. I am a criminal defense attorney by day, productivity and accountability coach throughout, as I like to say. I'm all about empowering women, especially those in corporate, to find the hidden time in their day, time that they can use to pursue their goals, their purpose, their life passions, while still maintaining their current responsibilities and taking care of themselves without the stress and without the overwhelm. Because as women, we play so many roles in life that we often neglect ourselves at the expense of doing and being for other people. So I want to teach women how to like pour back into themselves and find the time to do what it is that they need. And did you want me to answer the question about the success, or did you want me to let Elizabeth go ahead and introduce herself first?
Yeah, she can go ahead and introduce herself first.
Look at me acting like a real auntie can't make Zoom work. But I don't know what happened. I used to know how to work technology. But now, my name is Elizabeth McCoy. I'm a licensed mental health professional, or licensed mental health therapist. I am licensed as a licensed professional counselor, licensed sex offender treatment provider, and licensed chemical dependency counselor in the state of Texas. I'm also licensed as an LPC in other states. But in addition to all of that, I am a wellness powerhouse where I help Black women. Oh, sorry, you all. This is one of my assistants. So sorry. Okay. Um, Wellness Powerhouse, where I help Black women um release the guilt around rest, help them find peace and vulnerability so that they can maintain their success and all the goals that they have for themselves.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go into the first question there. The hidden sacrifices of success. So, Coach Lee, what sacrifice have you made that no one ever warned you about?
Time.
What sacrifice have you made that no one warned you about in business?
Time. Like understanding what's important, understanding what you're willing to say yes to, understanding what you're willing to say no to in order to get to the next level. Um, Especially with me working full time, like as a criminal defense attorney, like time is valuable. Full-time job, and then, not then doing this coaching business on the side. Because honestly, for years before I started my coaching business, people told me you should be a life coach. You're so motivating, you're so encouraging. And I always told them I didn't have time. Then the pandemic happened and the world shut down and I had time. So honestly, time has been the biggest sacrifice because the time that I'm devoting into my business, not that I don't want to do it, because clearly I chose to do this, it's time that's taken away from somewhere else, whether that be sleep, whether that be time with friends, time with family, time to just sit on the couch and relax. Because of the fact that I'm balancing a full-time job with having this business, there's only so many hours in the day. So time would be the biggest sacrifice in understanding what's the priority, where do I want to devote and focus my time in order to have and grow this business and to be successful by whatever definition success is to you.
What about you, Elizabeth?
I was hoping that they wouldn't be still clapping, but they're leaving now. So my biggest sacrifice that no one warranted me about was I'm a single Black woman. And so in the professional sense, it is very hard to date when you are building your business, when you are building your lifestyle, when you are just creating the life for you that you want. No one could have prepared me for what it would be like to be single and building, basically. It has been a very interesting journey. But once you find fulfillment in what it is that your life purpose is, you can accept that people aren't readily available to step into that space. And until the right person comes along, everything else doesn't matter. It's just not worth it. So that's my biggest takeaway about success, and that nobody prepared me for.
Mm. How do y'all stay strong in like tough times? How do y'all manage all that?
I manage just by going day to day, one thing at a time. My life has been very busy since August. Leilani, I shared with you that I am in my year of building, and that comes with a lot of hours, a lot of late nights, managing a lot. As you know, I'm here for another event, and I'm in the corner of 5 Central doing this, and I'm just about making it happen. So whatever I need to do to make it happen, I'll make it happen. And then I'll build time into my schedule to make sure that I rest. So after we finish with this, the rest of the day is mine. The morning was a little chaotic. I had things going back to back, but we show up, we get it done, and then we go and take care of ourselves. So that's for me.
Coach Lee, I know you have a lot to juggle, being a defense attorney and having this on the side. How do you handle stress?
Well, it's probably how I became a productivity and accountability coach. It's about scheduling, like even saying that time is the thing that you have to sacrifice, knowing where I want my time to go and balancing that out. So, for example, if I'm in trial for a specific week, I'm probably not going to be having clients having coaching calls that week. I'm not going to be signing up for podcast interviews or things like that. Or when I schedule it, I'm telling them, hey, I have a trial tentatively scheduled to start that week. I will reach out when the trial starts to let you know that the trial started. And then, we can play it by ear depending on, where they fall within the week of that. So for me, it's about planning my time, like doing me a brain dump, making me a to-do list and understanding what's going on in business, what's going on at work, and then anything that I have in my personal life to be able to tell and communicate what's happening so that everyone knows that, hey, I might be a last minute cancellation, but it won't be a last minute cancellation because I'm going to let you know as soon as I see that this is going to be an issue. I know, I think even when we were scheduling with this, I was like, I think we're different time zones.
Oh,
this
yeah, you
time
did.
might work because I work at that time, but I might be able to take my lunch break during that time. It's just going to depend, but for sure, I'm available for this option. So communicating that with any and everybody, clients, speakers, everything like that, and just being willing to say that this is my schedule, knowing where I have to be and what I need to do, and just being willing to communicate that to everyone.
And can I piggyback off that and talk about the importance of communication?
Yeah.
Coach Lee said something that busy women, I'll just say busy women because it's not limited to CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs, or whatever. It's to communicate what you can and cannot do. Either I can make this happen or I cannot. Either you can have flexibility with me or you cannot. And it's just about that communication so that we ease the anxiety, we ease the pressure. We are pressured enough and we have way more than enough to do, that we don't need to have hidden pressures that we've created in our mind. So communication is key.
Most definitely. Most definitely. How do y'all handle like setbacks in business? Because I'm learning from y'all. Y'all seem to be really deep in your careers. A defense attorney, a mental health specialist. How do y'all handle like setbacks or rejection or anything like that in business? Because that has been a challenge for me as well. Whoever wants to speak first.
I actually had to learn how to do that. In my time as a therapist, in helping other people and attending my own private therapy sessions, I've learned to just accept things for what they are. There's really and truly no such thing as failure as long as you made that decision yourself and you learn something from it. I do not care what it is. I am intentional about what it is that I do. Even if, like today, schedules run behind, I'm still intentional. And then I'm able to communicate what is it that I was wanting to do, what time slots I need, and things of that sort. So that's how I'm able to handle the setbacks. Is you just roll with it and you don't take it personal.
Mm, don't take it.
Definitely piggyback off that. Don't take it personal. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the acronym to fail is your first attempt in learning. So everything
Mm,
that you go through is a lesson. So if you're willing to look for the lesson in anything and everything that you go through, it's not a failure. It's not a setback. It's a set up for your comeback. It's a set up for what's next. And I think that we have to be willing to understand that we're growing. And as I like to say, if you're not growing, you're dying. So every day,
right.
every opportunity, everything that we say yes to, or even the things we say no to, is an opportunity to grow because you're going to grow from it. You're going to learn that, ooh, when I put too many things on my schedule back to back like that without wiggle room, that might be an issue. When I say no to opportunities, I might not be presented with this opportunity in the future. You have to be
Mm,
willing to communicate and own that everything is a lesson. Are you going to learn from it for the positive, or are you going to learn from it in the negative? But no
mm.
matter what, everything we go through is an attempt to learn, and I guess an instance to learn more than an attempt to learn. But the question is, will you learn from it? So allow your setback to be your setup for your comeback or for your next level.
Yeah, that is definitely some good information, especially for people that'll be paying attention to the podcast. Because I know we all go through some type of setbacks and challenges, and Lord knows I do in business, period. Because it's rough out there. Especially being a woman in business too. It can be challenging. How do y'all go about networking? Networking in the fields that you're in. I know networking can be a challenge, especially if you're an introvert like me. Networking is definitely a challenge. So,
Well, something I shared with you is that I'm very intentional about what is it that I'm doing. So I show up. I show up anyway and remind myself of why I'm there. So this event today, I knew that I was going to have to step out for this panel. I went around and I networked at every opportunity that I had, introduced myself, made sure everybody knew who I was. What is it that I
really?
can do? Oh yes.
So
Oh
you
yes.
actually walk up, you just go up to, you make yourself known and go up to almost everybody in the room and introduce yourself.
These are women. It's about 30 women at this event. And so I literally just walked up, walked behind them. Hey, how are you? Are you enjoying the event? I'm Elizabeth. This is how I know the host. This is what I do. And women, we like to talk. We like to talk, and we're all looking for connection. So I remind myself that the same thing I want, they want. So
Hmm.
if I can just get out of my own head and remember that, I break the ice and I just go for it. And
Wow.
if I happen to be wrong that day and they're not really interested in talking, then so be it. That's their personal choice. And I don't take it
You
personal.
don't take it personal.
I do not take it personal. Whatever works for you works just fine for me, I promise.
Wow. What about you, Coach Lee? Do you do the same? You walk up to everybody in the room?
Now, see, I'm more like you. I'm an introvert,
Oh, okay.
and I probably need to do better at networking. And I think the biggest struggle that I've had is I started my business in the pandemic. Everything was Zoom, everything was virtual. And yes, in
Mm.
some ways, the world has kind of adapted to that. So I need to be better at networking. And I'm not. I do when I'm given opportunities, like when I've had to speak at events in person, I do try to talk to people in the room and work the room and make connections in that way. But
Mm.
with the digital space, like I believe we've connected on Threads. I
Right.
try to, reach out and search things like that in terms of finding ways to network online. So because I started my business in the pandemic time, my digital networking and meeting people online has been decent, has been pretty good. Now my in-person networking, I'm not quite at Elizabeth's level in terms of go up
Yeah.
and speak. I'm on that introverted tip like you. I like to observe, and maybe it's the criminal defense attorney in me. I'm not sure. Like I like to sit back and observe, so I watch a lot more than I speak. But I can
Mm.
still walk out of a room, honestly, probably be able to tell you who half the people are in the room because I've sat back and observed and can
Oh,
still
really?
make the connections in that way. But I'm not as vocal, especially if I'm in a space that I didn't come with someone that I know. If I'm the only
Mm.
person in the room, like if I came by myself, I'm a lot more like, let me sit back and observe for a
That's
second
me.
and kind of read the room
Me too.
before being willing to approach and speak. If I know someone in the room, I'm kind of going to start there and
Me
allow
too.
that to be the connection to start making my way to those that I don't know and reaching out and speaking in that
Well, at
regard.
least you will start walking around and making some connections. I have to get better at that. So that was definitely inspiring. I'm gonna have to try that because I have never, ever done that.
Yeah, and I like what Coach Lee said. Start with where you're familiar, and
Yeah.
then just kind of work from there. And remember, we're all there for the similar purpose. So if
Mhm.
nothing else, that's the perfect icebreaker. How did you get here? What are you looking forward to? Who do you know? Tell me about your earrings, your shoes, your dress,
Hmm.
whatever. We just have to get talking.
Hmm.
That's it.
Coach Lee, how did you get into the defense attorney field without really being a networker, or was it everybody had to come to you since you were the attorney? You didn't have
Oh
to
no,
get out there and
see,
really network.
I don't have my own firm. I used to believe that I thought I wanted to have my own firm, but then I realized that that means I got to people and chase people. I'm a government attorney, but that was my intention when I started out to be a government attorney. My goal initially was by the time I turned 30, I will open my own firm. That was the year the pandemic hit, and I started this coaching business instead. So I started a business by the time I was 30, just not the one I thought about. So I always I realized how we talk about our strengths and our weaknesses. A
Yes.
strength of mine is I'm a great attorney, I'm a great advocate, I can speak and all of that. But especially with doing defense work, you got to chase people for money, and I'm not trying to have to chase nobody to
Yeah,
pay.
I don't like to have to do that either. Oh.
So I realized that like when I started doing the research, because I was starting to do the work to open my own firm, and I really was like, wait a minute. In order to be successful and have this money, I got to go chase these people.
Mm.
Do I really want to do that, or do I want to do what I'm strong at, being an attorney? And
Mm.
so being willing to understand my strengths and my weaknesses and what is my true desire, and in the work that I've been able to do, like at the public defender's office, I've still been able to grow. I've been given opportunities that I'm not sure that I would have had in a private sector. And I
Mm.
love that. And after seeing that and being exposed to that, it was kind of like, what do I really want? And being willing to be honest with myself about not only what I want, but what I'm willing to do to get there.
Mm.
Kind of goes back to that first question of like success, the hidden
Right.
sacrifices of success.
Yeah.
I
So
like that. Can
that
I
is
can I interrupt with a
sure.
personal story?
Sure.
So, okay, I'm trying to hit it just right when they're not as loud. So,
I can't even hear them.
oh, you can't? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, then let me just keep talking because I can
Yeah.
hear them. So I thought you could.
Uh-uh.
But when I would get on dating apps about 3 years ago, I would create an actual date day when I know that I would be available so that I can be spontaneous. So I can look like I'm spontaneous and be able to accept dates. And literally, I would build my schedule around that.
Hmm.
So being like Coach Lee was saying, being intentional, knowing what you can and cannot do, showing up where you can, and making time.
Hmm.
Now, did all the men oblige by that? No, they didn't. But it didn't matter. But it was a nice try though.
She said it was a nice try though. So how do y'all know when you're connecting with the right people when you are networking? How do you know you're connecting with the right people? I know, is your discernment on point? Because I'm still struggling in that area too.
I don't think you do know.
You
Not
don't know.
initially. I think during that initial conversation, you don't know because there are times where you get a hidden gem or you think that something's a good opportunity, and then once you really start talking or you move to the next step or whatever that might look like, you realize that it's not for you. So I don't think at that moment that you're networking that you know. But
You
I
don't.
think going into it with that openness of just kind of how Elizabeth was saying, who are you? Why are you here? How did you get here? And just kind of get to know a person genuinely,
Hmm.
yeah, genuinely, and then from there allow whatever connection to grow, because the connection might be, I know someone who needs your services. The
Right.
connection might be, hey, I have something like as a resource for you. The
Hmm.
connection might be you my next client. It
Right.
could be, hey, I'm hosting this event, would you be willing to come speak? I have a podcast, would you be willing to come speak? So I don't think at that initial moment where you're having a conversation, I think you just have a conversation and get to know someone, because it might just be you walk away and you like, I met this person at this event, we didn't exchange contact information, or we did and it went nowhere.
Right. Is that the same way you see it too? How do you know when you're connecting with the right people?
Listen, ain't T being ain't T trying to get this thing to work. but yes, not
you're
everybody.
definitely an extrovert, so you just hit it off with people probably right away.
I know they're calling me to come take a picture now, and I'm like, listen, just give me a second. As soon as I talk, I'm gonna be there. Listen, we just make it work. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just make it work. But as far as, if it's a good connection or not, just over time. Just over time. I've accepted that even though I think I'm great, I'm fantastic, we all have that touch where we have to hype ourselves up. There's a time and space for me to be in somebody's life and for them to be in my life. So I like to say, let me just keep my connections warm. I don't know when I'll need them. I don't know when they'll need me. But knowing people in whatever season you meet them in is always better than not knowing them at all. And so I just take it as it comes, really. Really, everything is tossed up in the wind. It is what it is. It's not what it's not. And when it's time, it's definitely going to be. It's going to be the right time, no doubt.
I like that. I like that. Next topic. Are y'all ready for the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I'm gonna run off and take the picture.
Okay. So we're going to talk about breaking stereotypes in businesses. The challenges of being underestimated as a woman in business, how to deal with the biases and the lack of representation, and owning your space and confidentiality. So, have you ever faced any gender bias in your industry? I'm pretty sure you have in that industry. And how did you handle it?
Honestly, in terms of coaching, I don't think so blatantly. I would say that one, I guess, maybe stereotype, whether that be self-imposed or like society-imposed stereotype, is marketing. The way that men market is different than women. The way that potentially people of color market, male or female, might be different than others. So I don't think that I've experienced it in terms of it being turned on me or directed towards me, but I think on the outside looking in, like getting into the industry, and when you start a business, you're trying to figure out, what do I do, what works, what doesn't work, what's my niche, who do I want to speak to, who do I want to help, like trying to figure out all those things and having so many options and opportunities in front of you. I know for me, when it came time to me investing in coaching, I knew I wanted to try to find a Black female coach to work with, because I felt that intentionally or unintentionally, she would be able to speak to some of those idiosyncrasies that we know about as Black women, whether that's truly what her coaching program was about or not. And in the first coaching program, maybe it was the second coaching program that I invested in, and I was in it for quite a while, she ended up ultimately a few years in changing her messaging to say that she was speaking to and wanted to work with more women of color to get them into the industry. So at the time that I signed up and was working with her, her messaging wasn't specifically to that, but most of the people who were in the community were that. And then when other people came into the community, they often didn't stick around as long as those of us who were of color.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't even, at that time, her messaging wasn't even specifically saying that this is how women of color market, this is how women of color need to do this. But over time, I believe she evolved and she decided to specifically speak to women of color. And so it's not a stereotype that I per se experienced, but it was something that I went in looking for, I guess you can say. So maybe which is why I say maybe it was self-imposed stereotype. I don't believe, or I don't feel that per se that I've experienced a specific stereotype in terms of business, but just in going into this business and knowing, just as a Black woman, some of the things that we look for, that we deal with, and just trying to make sure that I found what I thought was the support that I needed to be able to show up in this space, to learn in this space, and to grow and to thrive in this space.
So you've never experienced working in like a male-dominated industry and experience any gender biases?
I mean, I guess attorney side of me, maybe. And I think it's the same thing. I know some female attorneys who've had the experience of having a male say certain things to them. And
Mm.
maybe I give off the face of I wish you would.
Yeah, you
But
don't
I
look like
haven't
you
had
play at all. Okay, you definitely don't.
I've heard other people say that, but I haven't experienced it in terms of directly towards me. Like even with law, I do feel it sometimes that there are things that others can do that I might can't do, and maybe I've adapted and shifted myself in that way. But I think that kind of goes back to even in the coaching world, like being intentional about what it is that I'm doing. Like I want to be portrayed in the best way possible. So if that's
Right.
me perpetuating a stereotype on my own because I know how y'all might think. So therefore,
Right.
before y'all even get there, let me just show up and be this way and just show you better than I can tell you and let you make your decisions from there.
So the question was, have you faced any gender biases being a woman in business or even working in a male-dominated industry?
So thankfully, right now, I'm not in a male-dominated industry as a therapist. It is very much female-dominated. Anything of service, we're winning. Now, when I was a probation officer, it was different because when I show up and I am talking to law enforcement, police officers and sheriffs and constables, and I'm like, this is what I need as a probation officer. Oh, I was dismissed quite a bit. But it didn't matter. After I got over the initial, like, oh my God, this really happens, it didn't matter because I was there to do a job. And what must be done must be done. And if you don't allow me to do it the very Southern Belle way, then I'll do it the other way. And what has to be done, it has to be done. I have a judge's order, the same of your boss is the one that signed this, and this is what we have to do. And either you can let me do it, or you're just gonna have to watch me do it. Your choice.
So, your choice.
I mean, it's your choice. I've tried the nice way, and not all the time does the nice way get things done. And so, what is that quote where it says that nice women rarely make history? Well, we rarely make history, and we rarely get things done. So when it's time to handle the business, it's time to handle the business. What you think about me, you already know, Leilani, is not my business.
It's not my business.
Whatever you think about me is not my
Not my
business.
business.
It is time for me to get this done, and so I can move on because my reputation is important to me. But I'm only in control of my reputation as far as I can present it. What you think about it is on you.
How do y'all feel? How do you feel in rooms where there may be a woman, I'm gonna say a woman industry, all female, and you step into a room and then most of the women have more credentials than you, or how do you feel in those environments? Because for the women that are trying to succeed or just starting their businesses and trying to find their way in certain rooms, and sometimes could feel uncomfortable jumping in those rooms when they feel like they haven't reached a certain level. And sometimes some women may belittle you or make you feel less than in those rooms when you're trying to get in those rooms. Have you ever experienced that? And if you have, how did you handle it?
Oh, most definitely. I can honestly say there are rooms that I've been intimidated in. Um, only thing I can do is remind myself that we're all here for a common purpose. And I used to like to say that we all put our bras on the same way. And so, that's until the young kids started getting this little sticky tape stuff that I don't have down. But but we all twist these bras around, and we all got dressed the same way today. And so where there are many differences, as far as like income or prestige and things of that sort, there's still the commonality of sisterhood. No matter what the media tries to feed us, we are very intentional. We desire connection. And so as long as we don't let the media win, we can actually find what we're looking for. So initially intimidation, go through some rounds of self-talk, and remind myself of our commonalities and why we're all here. Regardless of the fact if you have more than me or I have more than you, on this day at this time, we all in the same place, baby. So let's make it work.
What about you, Coach Lee?
I love that. And I think it starts with the self-talk, because sometimes you don't know what to be intimidated by or not. Because especially in the coaching world, you don't have to have a certification to coach. I got one, but that's because that's the type of person that I am. The attorney in me is like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it right. LLC, get some training. Like, this is a completely different industry than what I've been in. So it's different if you're taking, like, for example, like being a therapist or a counselor and you're transitioning that into a business. Like, you have that training. I'm going from attorney to productivity and accountability coach. Like, I wanted to figure out what that looked like and how to do it ethically and practically. You don't have to have training or certification in a lot of things. One of the coaches that I'm still in one of her programs, like, she's like, I'm a high school dropout, so I don't have a high school diploma. So you think they mean I got a college diploma? But I'm a 6 and 7 figure business owner.
Wow.
So when we talk about the credentials, are you talking about on paper in terms of a diploma or certification or training in that regard? Or are you talking about walking the walk and talking the talk and practically showing you what it is that they can do? Because in either way, yes, their intimidation might be there, but you also have to realize that whether if you're a person of faith, like, what God has for you, God has for you. And so what? Like, what is that going to look like for you? And just being willing to know that if you walk in your purpose, if you walk in what it is that you're called to do, you're going to be put in rooms that you're not qualified to be in. But grace, those networking that we were talking about at the beginning, gets you in those rooms and gets you in those spaces. So sometimes I think we have to take a step back from that intimidation, which is a work in progress in any given time. You know, sometimes you get that email or you see a post. What we need to have, I forgot how the phrase goes, but we need to have the audacity of a white male. Like how they apply for jobs. Like, I know it was some study that was like, men will apply for jobs if they have at least 50% of the qualifications, whereas oftentimes women, we need to make sure we have 70 to 80%, oftentimes 90, before we're like, I'll apply. What's the worst that someone can say to you? So my daddy used to tell me growing up, like, the worst that someone can say is no. So if you apply and you're not qualified, they're either going to say no or you're not going to hear a response. True. It's rare that they're going to, yell at you and belittle you and be like, why would you ever think you were qualified for this thing? So I think we just have to get audacity, get tenacity, like, be willing to fail, be willing to learn from everything it is that we go through, and just remind ourselves, which is the mindset aspect of it, of talking yourself through, like, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And just be willing to step in and show up.
And can I just add that as women, we know that audacity is at an all-time lowest sale ever. The men have been buying it up. So baby, you can go and get it. Go get you some audacity for the low and show up in the rooms that you need to show up in. And I need you to own that space, whether you believe it or not. I need you to get in there and just get it done. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter the bloopers or the perfection. I just need you to buy that audacity while it's on sale and go in there and get what you came to get. And that's all that matters.
That is so true. I heard you saying something in another question I asked you, and I remember I wanted to ask you about that, Coach Lee. You said something about men market differently than women. What do you mean by that? What is their approach to things versus what women are doing?
Okay, ask me one more time.
No, I was talking to Coach Lee, but both of y'all can answer the question, because she said something on another question I asked, and she said men market themselves differently than women. So I would like to know what way do they market themselves versus women? Because maybe I need to steal some of those techniques.
It's the audacity that Elizabeth was talking about.
It's the audacity.
It's the audacity. Literally, it's like, look at the world. Cut the news on and you see people talking to you like, how you came up with that? You thought you could say that, and look at who often it is that's saying it. What do you what do you have to back it? Like, I think that from what I've seen, that, men talk about, I'm anti-hustle and grind. I'm not anti-hard work, but I'm anti-hustle and grind. I'm not going to work myself to death and to the bone. I like my sleep. I like my rest. I like to have work-life balance. I'm not anti-working hard to get what it is that I want. But men will talk about how you need to sleep for 2 hours a day, send 100 cold pitches every day. And that's the way that a lot of times you'll hear them marketing. You just walk into that room and tell them that you're the best person in that room. Whoa. So it's that audacity. It's that audacity, because sometimes, like, I've listened to And at this point, because of that, like because I've seen that, like, you know, the Instagram algorithm, the Facebook algorithm, the ads don't hit me of those type of people. But like the podcasts, the books that I listen to, I'm listening to how it is that I want to show up. I don't want to be kicking down doors yelling I'm the best thing in the room. I want to be the silent killer. I want to walk in that room and you not think that I'm the best thing in the room, but I open my mouth and you like, wait a minute. What she just wait a minute. That's what I need. I want to show you better than I can tell you. I don't want to be the loudest for you to like. I don't want to be the look at me person.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mean by men market differently. But honestly, I don't want to market that way, which is fine. If you do, go for it. But they market differently. It's the audacity.
Men will definitely show up and tell you what it is that they want you to know about them. And while there's aspects, you know, on their marketing that I do not like, I do like the boldness of showing up and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do. And no matter what you think, you cannot take that away from me. And so, you know, what did they used to say? Take the meat, spit out the bones. Take what you can chew, and then everything else, you know, just leave it on the side. Let somebody else discard of it. But show up as authentically you, purposefully, intentionally, and just be happy.
I like that. Are there any mistakes in business that you learned the hard way?
Oh, I've learned many. And
She's like,
listen, they have all cost me a lot of money. But for what cost me money, I've earned in wisdom. Always tell my therapy clients, not everything can be taught necessarily as far as a step by step. Some things just have to be experienced so that you have a deeper understanding. I've learned a lot about marketing. I've learned a lot about budgeting. I've learned a lot about showing up. I've learned a lot about being introverted because I shared with Leilani on our previous podcast. I used to be an introvert, but that wasn't making me any money. That wasn't getting me anywhere. That humble pie just left me with a sweet tooth, but I didn't have no money to buy no more pie. And so, what am I going to do? I'm going to show up and show out anyway so that I can get what it is that I want. And then afterwards, I'll go back and I'll retreat and I'll be sitting in the corner of my couch with my dogs and the world don't even know that I exist. So, you know, do what you have to do that'll get you the life that you want to achieve and in a way that you'll be proud of and you'll be happy with.
What about you, Coach Lee?
Look, what I didn't learn in time, I might have learned in money, but one way or another, we was gonna learn. What is it to fail? Your first attempt in learning? Yeah. In some ways, it's been that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So sometimes the loudest thing that you hear of someone telling you how good they are, that doesn't mean they really that good. And given they might be that good for someone else, but what was marketed or what was sold to me might not have been what it was that I either thought that I needed or actually needed. And so being willing to learn from experience. Look, be willing to try. Like, again, the worst they can say is no. The worst, if you didn't learn it in time, you learned it in money. If you didn't learn it in money, you learned it in time. So sometimes we have to do things. Sometimes we don't want to invest the money to do things, so it takes us a long time to do it. Sometimes we invest the money to do things, and that money might not have been spent, but you learned from experience, and you through your time, you learned the lesson. So be willing to look for the lesson in anything and everything, in the good investments, in the bad investments, in the I'm not sure what kind of investments it is. Be willing to look for the lesson in everything that you go through and be willing to learn from it. There's always something to learn in everything that you do and everything that you go through. The question is, will you learn it or will you have to go through it again to experience it?
And let me piggyback off Coach Lee, because one thing that women do not like to do is that we don't like to pay. So we undercut ourselves, and so we think that other people are supposed to undercut themselves and give us their knowledge, their labor, their whatever for the low or for even for free.
Right.
If you are not willing to pay for the information, you do not value it. I do not care how you try to cut it. I don't care what reasons you try to give. As a therapist, as a business owner, as a daughter, as a sister, as a cousin, as a friend. I have seen it time and time again that oftentimes what people do not pay for, they do not value. So if nothing else, spending your dollars will guarantee that you're going to show up.
That's true.
And so if you need the ultimate accountability, pay for it.
Pay for it.
Pay for it. Because that's definitely how I've been able to build quickly and get a lot of things under my feet. All I need to know is what is the price so that I can figure out how to get it. It's valuable to me. I need to be there. I want it. I pay for it. I go and get it. And if it ends up not being the greatest thing that I thought that it was going to be, like Coach Leah said, at least I learned something.
Yeah.
It can be a marketing hack. It can be something, even just one piece of information that I didn't know. You know, whatever it is, I can take it and I can grow it because that's what we do as women. We take seeds and we blossom full plants. So it doesn't stop just because you're in business or just because you're trying to excel in your personal life and wear all your hats and be successful at everything.
I think one other thing with that is, I guess the flip side of you learn from it no matter what. Sometimes what you learn is what not to do. Maybe you went through it and you was like, I learned from it, but I didn't like the experience. Like I got the knowledge, but maybe the process that got me there, I wasn't a big fan of it, or I didn't like the way it personally made me feel. So maybe I'm going to take this knowledge and I'm going to change the experience for my clients, my customers. If I were to host this type of event, if I were to put on this type of thing, if I were to attend this type of event, sometimes the lesson that we learn is what not to do and how we can better or take our spin on it. Take the meat and chew out the bones and figure out what parts of it can work for you and whatever it is that you're looking to do and how can you best incorporate it.
Okay. So before we close this out, I want to ask each of you something individually. So I'll start out with Elizabeth. I want to ask you, so this is something I'm gonna ask you, this is something that you can say to inspire some other woman that might want to get in your field or just step out of their comfort zone. What did you do? Because you say you used to be an introvert and you're no longer an introvert. What did you do to step out of your comfort zone and just, how long have you no longer been an introvert and became an extrovert? And for those out there that are introverts, what advice can you give them to be able to do the same?
That's really a loaded question. We can have a whole episode on that one. But I'm trying to think of how to keep it pretty simple. I've been more extroverted for like the last 2 years.
2 years.
And about the last 2 years, and this year is my 39th year, so I'll be 39 in September. So I've spent a lot of time being introverted, being shy. And what I've learned is that there is no such thing as being humble and getting paid. It just doesn't exist. When you are talking about being humble, you are really sacrificing your light for somebody else's comfort. And when I realized that cheat code, I've been showing up everywhere. I am everywhere. If somebody is hosting a Black woman's event, I'm trying to be there. I'm going to make friends. I'm showing up to podcasts. I'm doing interviews. I'm doing whatever to let people know that Elizabeth is here. I have something to say, and it's valuable. It's valuable. What was the second part to the question?
That was it. How would you inspire somebody to step out of their comfort zone and do the same?
So as a kid, my favorite restaurant was McDonald's.
Okay. That's all kids.
I like a good McDonald's. I know that we're boycotting McDonald's. And so, hey, your girl has not been to McDonald's in at least a week. Okay. Sometimes I do have listen, I have had a slip because I was so busy and they're right there. So,
my God.
but now I like being able to go out and enjoy additional foods, foods where you can taste the different ingredients, where eating is an actual experience and not just an act of survival.
Right.
And so if I wanted to eat as an act of survival, then I would need to just keep being introverted. But when I want to swipe my card and my friends are saying, let's go here, let's go there, oh, I need to have money in my bank account, because humility it was not putting it there for me. No matter what the world has said, humility has never put enough money in my bank account for me to live the life that I actually want to live. And when it's time for me to show up, that humility does not pay out.
You didn't
So
have
that's
to. You didn't have to. You didn't have to become a B. I don't want to say the word on the podcast.
No,
In order to be able to not be so humble and just.
No, but what I did have to become is assertive. And sometimes being an assertive Black woman is considered being a B. But remember what I said. If I didn't wake up and with that thought while I was getting dressed, I don't care that it showed up later in the day. What you think about me is your business. I really cannot do anything with it, because in order for me to just say that this is how I'm showing up authentically, what you think of it is up to you. Yeah, as long as I'm happy with it when I go to bed.
I love that. Okay, well, Coach Lee, question for you is what would you have done coaching with different companies or different women to learn and different things like that. What would you say to inspire somebody that has contemplated coaching but then thinking, I don't even know if it's really a benefit, should I even pay for coaching? I want to learn this, I want to get to this next level in business, but then I see all these different people saying they do coaching. Is it really a benefit? And what would you say to inspire somebody else?
To be a coach?
Not to be a coach, just to go and get coaching, because sometimes we feel like, is it even worth my time to go do coaching? You know what I mean? So many people offer coaching. I want to grow in business, but is that even a benefit for me to even go through with coaching? What would you say to inspire somebody to let them know that coaching is really a benefit?
Is there something that you struggle with in life? Do you want to get better at it?
Somebody, yeah.
Then coaching is for you. If you struggle with something, there are different types of coaches. Like, I'm productivity and accountability. I'm not really a business coach. Can I help you be more structured and organized in your business? Yes. But in terms of like business coach, in terms of marketing and scaling, like, that's not me. So is there something that you struggle with? There's probably a type of coach for that.
Okay.
Do you struggle with procrastination? Do you struggle with growing and scaling your business? Do you struggle with the mindset? Do you struggle with fill in the blank? There's probably a coach for that.
So you do
just like there's a podcast that exists for every type of thing that you can want to learn. There's a book that exists for it. There's some way that you can invest in a program or coaching to help you with that. So if you want to grow, if you want to be better, if you want to go to the next level in life, business, career, like, there are people who are career coaches who teach you how to up your resume to, get a raise or to get to the next level. If you want to be better in a specific area of your life or a specific subject in your life, there's probably coaching for it. If you're willing to buy the book, listen to the podcast, invest in it, it's there for you.
Coaching is beneficial. There you have it. So again, tell us what type of coaching you do and how can they find you?
I'm a productivity and accountability coach. So if you're looking to find that hidden time of your day, time that you can use to pour back into yourself, whether it's to pursue your goals, your purpose, your life passions, to have work-life balance while still maintaining your current responsibilities without having the stress and the overwhelm of thinking you're adding something new to your plate, I'm taking the time that you already got and finding that hidden time. You can find me everywhere at legally.me, which is legally.me. So that's my website, is www.legally.me. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Clubhouse, YouTube, like, everything is at legally.me.
And same for you, Miss McCoy. Tell everybody how they can find you. Tell them about your business again, what you do, how they can find you.
So again, my name is Elizabeth McCoy, and you can find me at elizabethmccoy.info. And you can find me on social media at Your Space to Heal and Luxury Recharge Collective. And so what I do is, not only am I a trauma expert and mental health, a licensed mental health therapist, I'm also the wellness powerhouse, where I help 10,000 Black women rest unapologetically and show up authentically while we practice with ease, calm, and vulnerability. So find me about all of your social networking. Some way, somehow, I'll be floating around. I'll be looking for you.
I love it. All right, everybody. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for joining me today on the Boss Women Network podcast. Y'all are definitely some boss women for sure. and gave out some boss information to the other potential bosses, future bosses, and bosses that just need a little help like me. I needed some of that little inspiration y'all gave. I'm definitely going to start. I'm going to definitely sign up to go to an event just so I can walk up to everybody in the room and introduce myself on purpose.
Most definitely. And I have a 1-day retreat happening in April. And so I'll be sure to send you that information.
Yeah,
And the
send me the
women in
link.
that room, the women in that room, I mean, they're expecting it.
Okay.
They're all wanting sisterhood, they're wanting connection. And so we get to have a spa day, we get to relax. We're having a wine tour. So the wine tour is at the hotel.
Love
So
it.
you can get as tipsy as you like. No judgment. I'm gonna know what room you're in and make sure that you get back to that room. And so that you can really relax and enjoy yourself
Is
during
this
this
going to be in
vacation.
Houston? Is it going to be in?
It's gonna be in Houston. So it is a staycation for us who are here.
Okay.
But I'll
Can
get
we
that
bring our
information.
husbands?
No, we gotta leave them at home. But I guess if you want to sneak him in at night, that's your business. But he can't be in the spa room.
No, not the spa room, but at the hotel.
Listen, sneak them in at night. Because one thing that me and my co-host we're looking to do is have women in their pajamas and just be comfortable. Just be comfortable, not have to worry about who's looking, who's judging, who's whatever. We are there to relax, have a good time, and do what women like to do, and that's sip wine and just be free.
I love it. Do you have any events coming up, Coach Lee? Do you do events or anything like that?
I do more speaking than events.
Okay.
I like host masterclass and things like that. At the end of March, I'm going to be doing a masterclass on like creating your morning routine to figure out how to start your day off right and find what it is that works for you. Because oftentimes, how we start our day, if we start our day rocky and shaky, we often struggle throughout the day to kind of get out of that funk and out of that mood.
So
And so
true.
I believe a good morning routine starts the night before. So I'm gonna be hosting a masterclass on basically finding and creating your morning routine to help you start your day on the right foot so that you can go through your day and find that hidden time in your day and be more productive, be more efficient by starting your day on the right foot instead of starting your day stressed out, rushing late, and all the things. So that'll be the end of March.
Okay. Is it going to be on your website as well?
Yes, it'll be virtual, but yeah, it'll be on the website.
I like it. I like it. I'm going to sign up for that too. So March 1st. You say March at the end of
No,
March.
the end of March. It'll be
End
March
of
29th, I believe. It's the last Saturday in March.
March 29th and April 1st.
For Elizabeth, I think it was like
For Elizabeth.
April 19th for me.
April 19th. Okay. April
Yes,
19th.
yes. April 19th. The easiest way to remember for me is that if it's a holiday weekend, I'm probably having an event because the children are already taken care of. They're already out of school. The other parent or your community will be able to chip in and help you. We're not inconveniencing people so that you can have some self-care. And so if it's a holiday weekend, I probably have something going on.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time. And also, people go to bosswomannetwork.com to check out this episode, to check out all episodes, and to check out any resources that you may need as far as business wise. Go to the bosswomannetwork.com. And that is it, y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks for
Bye.
having us.
Thank you for joining me. Y'all have a wonderful Saturday.
You too.
You too.
All right. Bye.